Was there a catalyst for you in terms of wanting to serve? Like, what was the day that you're like, fuck, this is what I want to do. I want to join the military.
I grew up, my dad was he was in the Army, long, before I was born. He did 2 tours in Vietnam, with 101st and 82nd Airborne. So I always had, I grew up with, my whole, all the men in my family, served. And so I had a great respect for the military, but I really didn't, I wasn't set on it, until after, I went to college and, I went out for football, and that didn't work out. And then I just kind of had it just came to me one day, I was originally going to go, I wanted to go to Buds like everybody else. Right. Yeah. So yeah. I actually was talking to a Navy recruiter there in Kansas City. It was middle of the winter, and, I was set to go in, and I was going to sign all the paperwork and everything. And I'd been prepping. I mean, it's middle of the winter in Kansas. It's freaking snow on the ground. I'm out there running, which I hate running, swimming my ass off. And I went in there. I was set to sign up, go in there, and the door's locked to the Navy recruiter. I'm like, dude, he said 8 o'clock. I'm here, like 8:30 rolls around, and finally it's like blizzard conditions out there. The Marine Corps recruiter opens his door. He's like, "Hey, Devil Dog."
We got some hot coffee.
he's like, "What are you doing out there?" I was like, "Well, he goes, let me guess, waiting on the Navy." I was like, "Yeah, just I'm gonna enlist today." And he goes, "Let me guess, Navy SEAL, right?" I'm like, "Well, that's that's the plan, hopefully." And he goes, "What? Come on in here, get out of the cold, Yeah. And I'm at a point, in my life there where, I was working at a casino, working at bars, and just, I'm 24, and I was like, all right, well, I go in there, and I was just ready to sign, dude. I was ready to do something challenging, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of Force Recon?" And I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Well, you remember in the movie The Rock where, the Navy SEALs came in there, and then the guys that came in and kicked the shit out of those guys? Well, that's that's Force Recon." I was like, I'm like, okay, where did I sign up now? No, but I was like, he started showing me some stuff and talking and stuff and everything. And I was like, at that point, I was like, dude, I'm just ready to sign this shit today. So did that and just went that route.
I guess, so before we get into your time in the Marine Corps, your time in college that preceded that, you walked on to play football, right?
Right, yeah.
What was that experience like, coming from just playing football in high school and kind of the jump from high school to college football? I mean, because it's a pretty prestigious institution in this country. College football is pretty highly revered. What was your experience like with it?
For me, going from high school, and I look back now, and it's like, dude, I was gifted athletically. I was very I was lucky that. I didn't back then. We didn't have a real strength and conditioning program. We didn't. Every day was a max bench day, in the weight room, and so we didn't have, kind of what they have today. And so I didn't feel I worked as hard. Looking back now, if I would have worked so much harder, I think, it'd been a lot more or a lot better. But I had some offers at smaller schools and stuff like that. But I had a dream to go play at Kansas State. As a elementary school kid, I looked, Kansas State sucked really bad. And I was like, me and my best friend, and we're like, we're going to go there and we're going to make them good, But by the time I got there, man, they're like, they were a top 10 team, and I was irrelevant, but I went there, I walked on for spring ball, made the team. And then,
what position?
I was a linebacker, but my family, looking back, man, it was, a lot of stuff going on in my family between my parents, and I'm away at college, but I got cut off financially pretty much as far as college. I wasn't a scholarship athlete, and so I didn't have the funding come in. I didn't have really the support so much at 19, and I also, a lot of it was on me too. I totally embraced the rock star, lifestyle. I was, going out partying all the time, and you got the free pass into all the bars at 19 and soaking it up. And next thing you know, I'm on academic probation, and then I got mono the last 2 weeks of school, and dropped a ton of weight. And coach wanted me to stay up there to work out during the summer, and I was like, I'm going back home. Go back home, be with my friends, and got into it with my mom one night, and I was just like, fuck everything, man. I got $65 in my pocket. I've got my little Kawasaki Ninja, loaded up a backpack, and just moved to Kansas City and started working in bars.
Shit.
So yeah. And then
how long did you do that for?
I did that until I was 24, and it wasn't until I was working at the casino doing valet parking, man, and living paycheck to paycheck and partying it up, and it wasn't until like two things hit me at that time, and it was one was my best friend at the time hit me up, and he's like, man, graduated veterinary school, and I've got this awesome practice I'm going to out in Vegas. And I was like, dude, like, yeah, I'm parking cars, man. Not to take away from dudes that are doing that. it's a good transition, but and then the other thing was, the day that really got me was my college football coach, Brent Venables, who's now I think he's coach at OU. He came in, pulled in, and I helped him, and he like stops and looks at me, and I was just like, it was just like a look of total disappointment and disbelief of like, oh, that's where you went.
Oh shit.
And I'm sitting here like, and that hit me, man, because I'm like, how, I mean, guys like us, it's like, dude, somebody being disappointed in you, like that really hits. So, and that's when I was like, dude, I'm going to go do something, and that's when I signed up for the military. Yeah.
So, two quick questions. What's the coolest car that you valeted?
Man, I would say parked almost everything, but it was a 99 Dodge Viper GTS. This guy, he was a regular, came in all the time. He had it hooked up to the T. Yeah. And he was an older guy. I mean, he was probably maybe 70 at the time. He had a whole array of sweet like supercars and stuff, but he would just rip that thing all the way down the driveway, on the way out. We just loved it. But he was always super cool with us.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, I mean, those are classic. I remember growing up really liking the Vipers. But what was the CC on your bike? Was it a leader bike?
That one was just a little 600R.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that was the same one in the Mavericks, Top Gun.
Yeah, that's right. Is that why?
Yeah. No, it had to have that.
Yeah. Did you ride much growing up?
I didn't ride at all really until my parents wouldn't let me on
even a moped,
dirt bike or anything. So
yeah.
But when I hit 18, man, I bought that thing right out of the.
Not knowing how to ride it and just fucking. Do you ride now?
I do. Yeah. I've owned several leader bikes and Ducatis, and now I've got a good buddy gave me. I got out of riding street bikes and Harleys because I had two really bad crashes where I was hit by some shitty drivers and lucky to survive those. But I kind of hung that up, and then. My birthday 2 years ago, one of my buddies gifted me it's an MV Agusta. 1000.
Oh shit.
And
the triple exhaust.
It's got the quad exhaust. Yeah. And so it's a track bike. I don't ride on the streets anymore, man. It's just it's too. It's my passion, but it's too damn dangerous. And then I ride dirt too. So dirt bikes. That's awesome.
I got to level with you guys. I shave my sack. Yeah, I said it. It's Smooth Sack Summer 2023, if you haven't heard already. Make sure that you're scaped from pubes to bum. That's right, this summer. Keep your balls cool while looking hot with Manscaped. They've been a big supporter of the show for a while now, and they're the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. And they're making sure that we all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive headfirst into Smooth Sack Summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with our code. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to prepare for that summer bod. They've built the ultimate grooming bundle for your summer grooming. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer has a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor. That was not an accident. New multi-function on-off switch, and it gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. This trimmer is also waterproof, so beach, lake, shower, whatever, it will devour even the strongest pubes. Now that you got the perfect haircut, I know I do, use Manscaped's liquid formulations to keep that freshness even at the hottest summer barbecues. Most importantly, use the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, which is a real crowd favorite to stay cool in the heat. They're even throwing in 2 gifts for their Performance Package 4.0. That's the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. And they're also throwing in some Shears 2.0, a nail grooming kit, which is a stainless steel nail cutter, tweezer, and grooming scissors. So if you throw in the code MICDROP, all one word, you get 20% off plus free shipping. Manscaped, I've been using their stuff for years now, even before they sponsored the show. They've been a phenomenal supporter of the Mic Drop podcast, and this deal is amazing. Plus, again, if you use the code MICDROP, it's 20% off plus free shipping. I don't know how you beat that. So take care of your undercarriage this summer with Manscaped. That's manscaped.com. Code MICDROP, 20% off plus free shipping. Do it. All right, as you guys know, the lifestyle changes and the fast pace that we live, it makes it difficult to get in all of the vitamins, minerals, fruits, vegetables, etc. Started working with First Form. It's a great company. Everybody knows who they are, and I've been trying their stuff for a while now, and I love it. In particular, their OptiGreens 50. It's a precisely formulated green superfood powder that increases overall immune system support and digestive health. 80% of your immune system is located in your gut and digestive tract, so healthy digestion is essential for overall health and wellness. It's got 50 hand-chosen ingredients, and its taste and texture like no other product. It's not gritty. It's got a sweet berry flavor. 100% of all the greens ingredients are grown and manufactured in the USA. For me, this is a really good one-stop shop to get all the extra stuff that you need. There's a lot of greens out there. This is a product I stand behind. I enjoy it. And notice a remarkable difference in just overall the way that I feel. My gut health and digestion is noticeably improved. It's a green superfood blend. It's a phytonutrient blend. It's a glycemic balance blend. It's not going to spike your blood sugar. It's got digestive enzyme blends and probiotics in it. It's a great product. Andy Frizella and First Form is a phenomenal company that is very supportive of the veteran community, and I can't say enough good things about him and the company. So OptiGreens 50, just a great product, and they're a fantastic sponsor and supporter of Mic Drop. We'll definitely have some shit to talk about afterwards. I don't want to take the whole show up talking about bikes, but all right. So $65 in your pocket. Disappointed look on your old coach's face. It was kind of the light switch. The Navy recruiter doesn't fucking show up, and so there you are talking to the Marines. You signed that day?
Yeah.
And how long was it between when you signed and left?
God, I think it was like maybe a month or two.
Yeah. Were you just kind of floating in between that?
I was living in my buddy's garage, like sleeping on my couch in the garage.
Wow, freezing your fucking dick off.
Yeah.
I can imagine. All right, so you go into the Marines. You spent 4.5 years there. Where did you go to boot camp?
I was at San Diego, MCRD.
Anything stand out, that was exceptional or surprising or of note with the boot camp until you got into an operational unit process?
Not really.
Pretty standard.
I was an honor man or guide from T-Day 1 through graduation, that was, for me, I was proud of that at the time. It was the pressure to kind of be a leader through that and stuff, and waking up getting thrashed every morning for everybody else's shit was a lesson. It was good. I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. I mean, being 24 and some college experience and an athlete and whatever, I'm sure they threw you right into that fucking spot, huh? And expected a lot. Did you find that being an athlete, I mean, was there any part of Marine boot camp physically that was challenging for you?
Just the running, man. I suck at running. Like I'd rather swim somewhere than to run there, you know, and
you and me both.
Yeah. So the running, just the long runs sucked for me, you know?
So from you graduate boot camp and then ultimately where did you go?
From boot camp, I went to SOI. That was a few months.
Which stands for what?
School of Infantry. I was at Pendleton, Oceanside. So went there. I got a fracture in my foot like the last week. So I was a grad hold there for like a month or two and missed my ARS date on the East Coast. That's the Amphibious Reconnaissance School in Little Creek, Virginia. So I missed that date and rolled to BRC in Coronado. So I sat there for like a month babysitting, you know, the new recruits coming in and stuff like that. And went down got orders to Coronado. You know, I was down there in waiting for BRC in 2000. So I was there for 2 or 3 months, just hanging out on the beach. Yeah. You know, hanging out at the Hotel Del. And
so, I mean, shit, we were in Coronado at the same time then.
Probably, 2000.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it was class 232 and 233, 234 were down there when I was down there.
Yeah, the famous Discovery Channel class. Everybody and their fucking mom knows about. That's wild. All right, so you wait for BRC, basic recon course, then you ultimately go through it. What was your first unit that you went to after that?
So they gave us a wish list, you know, and, you know, I put 1st Recon Battalion, California, put East Coast, and then Hawaii. And so they sent me to Okinawa.
D, none of the above.
Yeah.
What, were you pissed when you found that out?
Initially, I was kind of freaked out, you know, I'd never, you know, hell, the first time we went on a beach run in boot camp, that was the first time I'd really been and seen the ocean or been to the beach or anything like that since I was like 5 or something like that. I didn't even remember it. So, hey, you're going to go not only to Japan, but you're going to live on this tiny ass little island, you know. It was just kind of a little bit of a shock, you know. I was a little bit kind of thrown back, but I got there and quickly fell in love with it. I mean, from a recon dude's standpoint, I mean, you're just immersed in the culture there. There's nothing else. You know, there's no, you know, our base, I think there's one female, and, you know, that is questionable if it was a female or not, you know. So it's like, you know, you're just immersed in the team culture and working out and PTing and diving and
no distractions.
It was awesome.
So that was also in 2000?
Yes. Late 2000.
So what was 9/11 like? Were you in Okinawa on 9/11?
Yeah, we were actually, it was, so it would have been late at night when we were there. We were actually up, I was living in the barracks, 35, and we were up there having a Madden tournament. One of the guys, you know, had saved up for months, bought the large big screen from the PX that covered the whole entire wall of his room, and we were having a Madden tournament. And then and we were all just hammered out of our minds, you know. One of the guys was like, hey, you know, the plane just crashed into the Twin Towers in New York. And we didn't think it was, you know, at first it was kind of like, you know, hey, we're hammered. Is this real? Or like what, you know, it was an accident. And then the second one hit. And then shit got real, you know. Everybody's like, you know, shut that shit off. You know, team leaders started, you know, like, hey, everybody start getting your shit ready. Like we were going to deploy that night, you know, which is not anything, you know, near the case. But, so that's when shit really got real. Because prior to that, you know, it was pre-war, you know, you were doing stuff because it was a challenge. You were doing stuff because, you know, hey, you wanted to be the best at this. And it was all just like, you know, it was kind of like a competition and kind of dick measuring contest on a lot of stuff. But then once that happened, you know, it's like, okay, this is relevant. Like all this shit that we're doing, like it's real. Like we're in it, you know?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I mean, it's kind of a similar thing. I mean, I was stateside, but yeah, I mean, it's like that, the exact same thought process. The first one was like, oh, it sucks. You know, didn't really think much of it. And then, as soon as the second one hit, it was like, just a fucking night and day difference. Like, holy shit. Did that impact, from a deployment standpoint, you guys in that rotation, or how did you guys respond command-wise?
Over there, at the time in Oki, it didn't affect us at all. I mean, we didn't at the time. Yeah, we didn't do anything. We didn't deploy nothing, guys. It just, if anything, it pissed guys off even more that we weren't being thrown in the mix on anything.
And so, what was your first exposure to actually deploying? Was it from Okinawa, or how did your time there kind of go?
So there, I just done training deployments, but in 2002, I transferred. I think it was 2000. Yeah, it was like 02. I transferred to 1st Recon Battalion, and I was in SEER school when the war actually kicked off, and so got out of SEER school. And we thought, the war kicking off, we weren't sure if that was just part of us getting fucked with, or if it was real or what, But they quickly, let us know that it was legit, and we got out of that, and then finished our workup, and then I went over on ship, and we went in through Kuwait. I think we spent one night in Kuwait at one of the camps there, and then went up through Basra and down to Afah, and all the stuff we did. We were down doing just reconnaissance stuff on the river there, and then some VBSS stuff on the river as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, we were in that same fucking spot at the same time, which is wild. How was the jump going from Okinawa to 1st Recon Battalion? Was there a stark contrast? And
it was night and day, man.
How so?
Like I said, Recon over in Okinawa at Camp Schwab you're just immersed in the culture. That's it. Looking back, I wouldn't trade that for anything. You're taught very harshly the history, the culture, and all that stuff. Hazing's freaking really enlightening over there. But so you go from that to nobody really had families. You had a couple senior NCOs that had families and stuff out in town. But then you go to Pendleton, where at the end of the day, guys break and they go to their families and their kids, and they just disappear, for the most part, so it's more of like a regular job. And over there, it's like, dude, you PT in the morning together, you go deal with whatever bullshit during the day, and then you go back and you PT some more, and then you eat, and then you grill steaks together, and then you go to the movie, and then, you drink beers and repeat, and that's.
Sounds like a career versus a way of life.
Yeah.
In terms of the caliber of dude, was there any disparity there, or was it pretty?
No, I think it's still pretty standard as far as the guys. The mindset was just really different over there. There's a lot more just kind of at the time like a real warrior mindset. You know.
What was the worst hazing you got?
Oh, man. God.
The statute of limitations. Nobody's getting in trouble at this point.
Yeah, no, God, this.
Plus, I can guarantee you, nobody fucking does that anymore. Like that shit's gone.
Yeah. No, I'll keep it. The the birthday thing was. I'm sure you guys probably did something similar where anybody younger than you got you broke out the little jet fins. And anyone younger than you on their birthday, they got pinned down and got so many whacks. According to however old they were, each person that was older than them got that many whacks. And so, that guy was usually, not showing up to work the next couple of days because he couldn't walk. I actually stumbled across a video on my phone that somebody sent me of one of those. It's pretty fun.
But. Birthdays. We were always big on taping each other up. Like we'd use a whole fucking roll of riggers tape and would tape your hands to your head, and wrap it around so many times. And then they called it a happy hat. They'd just like roll it on itself and make a big loop so you could drag them around by a tape handle taped to their head and fucking work them over and beat them up. And I mean, we used fucking mini blast machine and electrocuted each other, Tabasco sauce on your nuts and asshole. I mean, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened over there that, I mean, that first year over there, man, I remember like on the weekends, when, you know, the senior NCOs would get smashed.
Yeah.
I still recall like my roommate and I, like we E&E'd from a paddle party.
Yeah.
Where we swam out like a quarter mile down the beach, hit the beach, went up into our barracks room and, hid under our bed, barricaded the door. And they came beating on our door, and we're like, "Dude, we're not
shit's brutal." Yeah, I mean that shit doesn't happen anymore, though. I mean, to me, hazing is one of those things that, like with a lot of things, there's a happy medium. You know, there's a way to make it an effective tool and even a bonding mechanism. There's for sure units or groups or people that go overboard with it and take it too far, and there's, you know, not taking it far enough. You know, from a remediation standpoint. In that line of work, which I am not naive to the fact that that's pretty unique to, you know, our society and in a lot of places that it's probably not applicable. But in that environment, I think it's an effective tool and should be allowed. But all right, so you end up going back to the States. You deploy to Iraq. You're up into the Alpha Peninsula. Were there any operations that stand out in that Iraq deployment that were of note, that were either hairy or went exceptionally well or horribly wrong?
You know, when I went over there, we didn't do a whole lot of sexy stuff. I mean, we were at this little British, I don't know, it was like a blown out building that we were staying in, and it was like us. My 6-man team were attached to a weapons company. And they really didn't know what to do with us. Like they were like, they had no idea, you know, like how to use us and stuff like that. I think we had like a radio Recon unit attached to us as well. But so we did a couple, just like raids on houses and stuff like that. We went to one. The one that was kind of sketchy was, you know, we had a terp that was attached to us. It was basically like a glorified knock and talk, where, you know, we had a perimeter, we had the weapons company set around us and stuff like that, and they, you know, the terp goes up, he's communicating through the door. We're going to search. There's supposed to be a bunch of weapons and stuff there, and ends up, you know, they get I think there's like 2 males and a whole mess of females and a couple younger kids. Get them all out of the house, and the house is clear. So we go in to, you know, clear the house, and I go into one room, and it's like me and one of my teammates were clearing this kind of low lit room, and I see movement over on the bed, and, you know, I'm like, you know, drawing down on this thing, and ends up being a baby.
Holy shit.
Baby under the covers. They just left the baby. So I'm like, you know, that was, you know, for me, that was kind of threw me off, but we didn't do much over there on that push. It wasn't until we got back and the boys went back over like a few months later, and that's when Fallujah kicked off and everything. And then my team they were very active. And
So you went back after that?
I didn't. Yeah. We did a little bit of time over there, and then I was set to. That's why my enlistment was 4.5. Yeah. I extended 6 months to go over with my team. I was set to get out, and I was like, I'm not missing this. And so when I came back, I got out.
Was the lack of activity part of why you're like, fuck this, I'm getting out, or? Yeah,
I mean, it was that, and then I'd also part of my agreement. I was married, and my wife didn't want me to go over.
Oh, really?
You know, and I was like, look, you know, I was like, this was my plan. You know, like this was my plan for my life, was to be a Recon Marine and to do this. And I've got my shit pushed in for the last, 4 years, and now the Super Bowl's here, and I'm not going to sit on the sidelines. Yeah. So I made a deal that, hey, let me enlist for 6 more months, go over there, get a chunk with the boys, and then then I'll look at getting out. So that kind of solidified it.
When did you get married?
I was, God, 2000, I'm going to get in trouble here. It was 2000, would have been 2001.
So it was after you came in.
Yeah. So it was in, it was a day after dive school.
Oh, okay.